Hello dear students, I am Dr. Sabina, Assistant Professor in Botany in BPS Institute of Higher Learning, which is the constituent college of Bhagat Phul Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur Kala in district Sonipat. Today in this lecture we will study about the topic structure of megasporangium or ovule, its curvatures and the process of megasporogenesis. This topic is for the students of BSc second year, fourth semester from the paper second, that is plant embryology. In this topic, the following contents will be studied. First of all, what is the ovule? Then, location of ovule, especially in the angiospermic plants. After that, the detailed structure of ovule. Then, curvatures in ovule. And lastly, the process of megasporogenesis. First of all, what is the ovule or how we can define the ovule? Ovule is an integumented megasporangium. You have earlier studied the term megasporangium in the pteridophytes, which was associated with the female reproductive structure, and the megasporangium was not covered in the pteridophytes with any type of integument. So was the reason that the seed was not produced in the pteridophytes. But in the phanerogams, or we can say the seed bearing plants, this megasporangium is covered by the special type of covering which is called integument. And this integumented megasporangium is called the ovule. So here in the phanerogams, the term megasporangium is replaced by the ovule. Ovule is present in the seed bearing plants, as after ripening it produces the seed. As you know that the two category of plants are called the seed bearing plants, that is the gymnosperms and angiosperms. In gymnosperms, the seeds are naked, and in the angiosperms the seeds are covered. So there are two categories of seed bearing plants having this naked seed or the covered seeds. In gymnosperms, these ovules are present in naked condition, and these are associated with the female cone, and female cone is having megasporophyll. Megasporophylls are compactly arranged and form the female cone, and with these megasporophylls these ovules are attached with the megasporophylls. So as these ovules are naked, so the seeds are also naked in the gymnospermic plants. But in the angiospermic plants, these ovules are present in a special female reproductive structure that is called pistil, and the pistil is having three parts. Basal part is swollen, which is called the ovary, and ovary is in continuation with that a style, and at the tip of the style is the receptive organ that is called stigma. So the ovules are present in the basal swollen part of the pistil, that is the ovary, and after ripening the ovules produce the seeds and the ovary produces the fruits. So in the angiospermic plants, the seeds are present or protected inside the fruit. Uh, so these are called the covered seeds in the fruits. After that, we come to the position of these ovules in the angiospermic plants. These ovules are present in this picture. You can see this is the female reproductive structure or the pistil or gynoecium, and these ovules arise here in the swollen portion, that is the ovary. So these are the ovules, and these ovules here originate from a ridge-like structure that is called placenta. This placenta is a mass of parenchymatous cells, and this placenta after division produces the ovules. and the number of ovules in different plants varies, and also the position of ovules also varies, and the this number and position is according to the number and position of placentae in the ovary, and uh, the arrangement of these ovules and uh, or the placentae is called the placentation, which the topic which you have already studied in your earlier lecture. Now next we come to the detailed structure of the ovule. These are two pictures of the ovules. One, this is the uh, orthotropous type of ovule, or you can see in this diagram the ovule is straight type, and here the ovule is inverted. So the detailed structure is similar in both the type of ovule. So this ovule is attached to the placenta, or the point from where it is originated, with a stalk like structure which is called funicle, and this is the body of the ovule, and the point of attachment of the funicle with the body of ovule is called the hilum. So this is the point where attachment is there, and this is called the hilum. After that, the parenchymatous mass of cells which are diploid in nature in the body of the ovule, these parenchymatous cells form the nucellus. So this is the nucellus. After that, this nucellus is protected by one or two parenchymatous multicellular coverings which are called the integuments. If the ovules are covered with one integument, then it is called the unitegumic ovule, and when it is covered with two integuments, as shown in this picture, outer and inner integument, so it is called the bitegumic ovules. This is similar the structure in this picture also. After that, the basal portion of the ovule from which these integuments originate, this is called the chalaza, and this portion, or this end portion or basal portion, is called the chalazal pole. The integuments cover the body of the ovule or the nucellus, but there is a small opening at the upper side which is called the micropyle, through which the pollen tube enters into the ovule for fertilization phenomena. And the this pole, or this opening, or this structure is called the micropyle. So this is called the micropylar end, and the back end is called the chalazal end. There are some exceptional structures, or some exceptions also there in the integuments. In Santalum there is no integument. In Santalum plant, integument is absent, and in some plants like the Asphodilus, there is a third integument also present which is called aril, and in Opuntia the funicle becomes very long. This stalk or funicle becomes very long, and it completely covers the body of the ovule, and it just looks like the third integument. So these are some exceptional cases in some members of the angiospermic plants in the case of integument. But generally either there is one integument, or there are two integuments which cover the nucellus of the ovule. Next topic is the curvatures in ovule, which develops during the process of development of the ovule. So on the basis of curvature, there are 6 type of ovules which you can see in this picture: the orthotropous ovule, anatropous, hemitropous, campylotropous, amphitropous or amphidotropous, and lastly the cercinotropous. So these are 6 type of ovules which we will be discussing one by one. First of all, the orthotropous type of ovule. This is derived from the word ortho, which means straight, and tropos means turn. That means the ovule is erect or straight. Here you can see in this picture the ovule is straight or erect. Here this is the chalaza, and this is the micropyle, and here this is the funicle, and point of attachment is called the hilum. So in this type of ovule, the micropyle, the chalaza and the hilum are in straight line, as the ovule is also straight or erect. So this is called the orthotropous type of ovule, and this type of ovule is present in the genus Polygonum. After that, second type of ovule is called the anatropous ovule. Here ana means backward and tropos means turn. Here the body of the ovule becomes completely inverted during the development. So here in this case you can see that micropyle and chalaza are in straight line, but hilum is not in straight line, and hilum is just near to the, this is the micropyle and this is the hilum. So these are very close to each other but not in straight line, but the micropyle and chalaza are in straight line. So this type of ovule is commonly reported from the members of family or members of the group, that is Gammopatly. And in the angiospermic plant, this type of ovule is very common. Majority of the plants have the this type of anatropous type of ovule. In this case, the during after the inversion, the stalk or the funicle gets attached to the, here this funicle is attached to the body of the ovule, and here a depression or a line of depression is formed, which is called the rave. So this is the second type of ovule. Next, third type of ovule is the hemitropous. Hemi means partial, and tropos means inverted. So it is the hemianatropous or hemitropous type of ovule. Here the body of the ovule is placed transversely, that means it is partially inverted, not completely, and the body is placed at right angle to the funicle or the stalk. Here the micropyle and chalaza are in one line, but again hilum is away from it. Micropyle is here and hilum is here, and these are not very close to each other like the anatropous, but away from each other. So this type of ovule is called the hemitropous type of ovule, and this type of ovule is present in the genus Ranunculus. Next, fourth type of ovule is called the campylotropous ovule. Here it is derived from the word campylos, which means curved. Here the body of the ovule is curved or bent round, so that the micropyle and chalaza are not in straight line. As the body is curved, so these are not in straight line. This type of ovule is reported from the family Leguminosae, and this is called the curved type or campylotropous type of ovule. Next is the amphitropous ovule. Here in the amphitropous type of ovule, the curvature is more pronounced as compared to the campylotropous ovule, and even the embryo sac also gets curved. Here the embryo sac, this is the embryo sac, and this also gets curved. So this is called the amphitropous type of ovule. This type of ovule is reported from the members of family Alismaceae and Butamaceae. Next, last type of ovule is the Sarcinotropous type of ovule. Here in this type of ovule, in the beginning the nucellus or the body of the ovule is in right side, in straight line, but the in the beginning it is straight line, but due to rapid growth it becomes inverted and it becomes anatropous type, but the curvature further continues and the micropyle again come in the upward side or upward, and again it becomes the orthotropous, but after two turns. So this type of ovule is called the Sarcinotropous type, and this type of ovule is reported from the genus Opuntia. So these are 6 types of ovule on the basis of curvature. Then there are another 2 terms associated with the structure of the ovule. These are tenuinucellate and crassinucellate type of ovule. Here first in the tenuinucellate ovule, during the development of the sporogenous cell inside the ovule from the nucellus, when the nucellus is almost consumed and very less or single layer of nucellus exists, then the ovule is called the tenuinucellate ovule. This type of ovule is reported from the members of Gamopetalae, uh, in which the petals are fused. This is the series. Then here in this type usually there is a single layer of epidermis, and so the ovule is unitegmic type. But when the nucellus is massive and it is in large amount, and the sporogenous cell is deeply embedded in the nucellus, then it is called the crassinucellate ovule. This type of ovule is reported in the series Polypetalae and the class Monocots. Here the epidermis is present in two layers, and also there are two integuments, so it is called the bitegmic type of ovule and the crassinucellate type of ovule on the basis of presence of massive amount of nucellus around the sporogenous cell or the later on the embryo sac. Next, there are some other exceptional structures which are produced in some ovules. These are like, first is the obturator. In some ovules, at the basal part, some multicellular hairs are produced, and these hairs are collectively called the obturator. This type of structure or obturator is reported from the members of families like Lamiaceae, Acanthaceae and Anacardiaceae. Second type of structure is the hypostase. So what is this hypostase? In some type of ovules, in the basal part of the nucellus, in between the embryo sac and the vascular bundles, a group of cells appear which get highly lignified and thick walled. So this type of structure is called the hypostase, and this hypostase is reported from the families like Apiaceae and Liliaceae. Then third type of structure is called the epistase. In contrast to the hypostase, in genus Costus and Agave, few cells in the top part of the nucellus get modified and lignified to form the epistase. So these are some exceptional structures which are reported from few members of few families. Then next we come to the process of megasporogenesis. So what is this megasporogenesis? Megasporogenesis refers to the development of haploid megaspores from the megaspore mother cell, which undergoes meiosis. In the beginning, the megaspore mother cell is diploid, and this megaspore mother cell, or megasporocyte is also the name of this megaspore mother cell, this undergoes meiosis to form the haploid megaspores. Uh, During the development, any single hypodermal cell in the nucellus, which is diploid in nature, the single hypodermal cell just below the epidermis, this is differentiated. This gets differentiated to the primary archaeosporial cell, and or we can say the microspore mother megaspore mother cell. So the megaspore mother cell is the cell here. This is different from the other cells of the nucellus, which is just below the epidermis, and this cell can be easily distinguished from the other cells of the nucellus in large size. This cell is of large size and dense protoplasm, and nucleus is also very large and prominent as compared to the other cell. So this cell is called the megaspore mother cell, and this cell undergoes meiosis to produce the haploid megaspores. So this process is called the megasporogenesis. And after the development of the four megaspore from the megaspore mother cell after meiosis. Mostly these four cells are arranged in linear pattern in most of the angiospermic plants, and these are called the linear tetrads. Uh, in microspore mother cells, when it goes undergoes meiosis, normally the microspores are arranged in tetrahedral or isobilateral um, arrangement of tetrads, but in megaspore case the this arrangement is very uncommon, and but decussate tetrads are also reported from some members like Argenia, and T-shaped or inverted T-shaped arrangement is also reported from the family members of family Onagraceae. But the most common type of arrangement is the linear arrangement, and majority of angiosperms are having this type of arrangement. And after the formation of the four linear megaspores, three megaspores towards the micropylar and that get degenerate, and the survival functional megaspore is becomes large, and this undergoes after this undergoes the formation of gametophytic phase. After the formation of haploid structure, this will produce the embryo sac or the female gametophyte, which we will be discussing in the next topic. So this is about the process of megasporogenesis. Then there are some questions related to this topic which are frequently asked, and there can be many more also, like what is an ovule, then define unitegmic and bitegmic ovule, then define crassinucellate and tenuinucellate ovule, define obturator, which type of ovule is commonly present in angiospermic plants, define funicle, define the process of megasporogenesis. After that, where the ovule is located in the angiosperms, what do you mean by covered and naked seeds, explain the structure of a typical angiospermic ovule, give the various types of ovules on the basis of curvature, and lastly explain the process of megasporogenesis. So these are few questions. Some are very short or objective type, and few are the short answer type. So there can be many more questions also. So this is all about the today's lecture. Thank you very much for listening carefully.